Okay, guys. I was so tempted to do something like the last one again because that was so much fun. But I think it's more fun for me than anyone else. And it's really funny because I want to share books I've read with other people who might love the books. That's like the primary goal here. It's because authors need dogs to be drinking while their fellow people are talking. We have the wind. And I can't get that window shut any more than it is. It's driving me nuts. Let me try one more time. Okay, so I'm a liar. Apparently I can't get it shut anymore. Well, that helps. That helps. But, you know, I mean, as an author, I love it when other people say, oh, you're looking for that? Well, you want her book because that book will feed that. You know, I love it when people do that because that means that the person who's hearing about the book is looking for the very kind of book that this other person is recommending, and it just happens to be mine. Well, I like to do that as well. If you're looking for, you know, really edge of your seat, disturbing, but still clean and with a faith message, then you're going to be looking for someone like Jessica Patch. And if Jessica Patch is like the opposite of what you want, you don't want any of that disturbingness, then someone recommending Jessica Patch or seeing a, you know, like that, The Garden Girls, that's a beautiful cover. It's stunning. But if disturbing stuff is not for you, you don't want to read that book. So people knowing why someone loves something is really a good thing. And that's why I do this. But I also do it because it's fun to talk about books, and it gets all that book verbiage vomit out of me so that my family doesn't have to listen to it and go, right? Someone who cares. And so doing stuff like that mashup was really fun, and it really is making me think about characters differently, not just in my reading, but in my writing too. It's like, how is this person similar to or different from this other character that I've read / written, and what do I need to do to make sure that they are an individual? And that sentence bothers me. I'm I'm one of those people that they is plural, period, and I'm speaking as singular, and it's not working for my brain. It's just going no. So anyway, that person, I have to make sure I've got that character just so. And so, I mean, it's already making a difference just thinking about it, right? And sorry for the lateness of that video. It took way longer to edit than I anticipated. Getting all those images, you know, creating the, yeah. Hi, how you doing? And then it didn't, I had to finally go to bed, and it didn't convert while I was asleep. I'm like, wait, what? What? And so I had to do it over again, and then I couldn't upload it at my daughter's house, so I gave up and just said, fine, it's going out the next morning. I don't care. So yeah, there went that. But in one video recently, I talked about how I'm not like on a book buying ban, but I have focused not on finding books that I want and focused more on staying in the book, right? And it's again, it's not really an official Lenten practice, you know, I'm not giving up, but it was something I really focused on. But there have been a few that I have purchased, and then there have been a few that have been sent to me, and I thought it would be fun. I feel like I'm missing something. What am I missing? I already shared once for yes, so it's not that. Maybe I'm not missing any. I'm just not used to having so few. But then today, 2 more came in. And so I thought, okay, I'm gonna share those books so that I can get them put away, right? And at the minute I thought of that, I was like, how many books do I have that I've been wanting to read and haven't read because of other books, right? And so I thought, I'm just gonna pick out, and did I get my 7? 3, 6. I got 8. I think I'll pull one of them out since it was after BookTube and it wasn't a choice of mine. It was something that someone recommended I read. So I'm going to pull one of them out because I wanted 7. And somehow I ended up with 8. Half of these are Yeah, half of these are pre-booktube and half are since booktube. And you know, I did want to mix, but I was like, you know, the books that I haven't read, why haven't I read what I have, and why do I keep getting more? And there's that quote by Umberto Eco. It basically, I'm going to butcher it, and I don't want to. So basically, the quote has to do with, you know, it's kind of ridiculous to equate owning books with reading all the books. They are two separate things that, you know, you have to think about. And so I kind of agree with him, you know, but on the other hand, I bought them because I wanted to read them. So, and I keep buying because I want to read, right? So, let's start with just opening today's mail because reasons. This is obviously a Baker book house. And I can tell the difference between Baker and Kriegel because Baker tapes over the flap here and Kriegel does not. Interesting, huh? Yeah. So, and Baker wraps in brown paper and Kriegel does not. And I like the brown paper wrap. I am not complaining about Kriegel not doing it. I'm just pointing that out there. It doesn't matter. But, oh yes. Okay, so this was something I believe I pre-ordered before March. So, and now I'm covered in all this stuff, which is kind of funny because I pulled this shirt out of the spring tote, because it's too warm for it. We're not going to go cold enough that I need long sleeves anymore. So I pulled this shirt out, and it's like when I washed it, you know, to be put away for the winter, I must have washed it with a towel or something, and what I can't figure out is why it didn't come out in the dryer, but there were little white fuzzies everywhere on this thing, and all I can figure is that I didn't see it because it was like maybe nighttime when I did this or something. Doubt that. Or B, I was like, that is a spring problem. I am not dealing with this right now. I suspect it's that one. Okay, so the one that just came in is The Curious Inheritance of Blakely House. I have been looking forward to this ever since I talked to Joanna about it on the podcast. She was telling me all about the like clockmaker, you know, almost steampunky-ishness. And notice I said almost. I'm like, eh. So anyway, this says a clever young woman, a contested will, and an estate that does not give up its secrets. It's 1901 when clockmaker and tinker Sidney Forrester receives a most unusual inheritance. Blakely House. The island estate of an estranged uncle she's never met seems almost alive, revealing and hiding its secrets at will. It is filled with remarkable inventions, including an intriguing unfinished automaton Sidney is itching to get her skilled hands on. The estate is also home to a number of peculiar people, including two men intent on removing this interloper from the island. Convinced that Sidney has something to do with their uncle's death, the late master's nephews contest the will and work against their cousin at every turn. Sidney finds a sometimes ally, I love that, in the estate's butler, an ex-adventurer who ran aground on the island years ago. But when a mysterious man washes ashore with a stunning surprise that upsets everything, Sidney must prove she has inherited the late master's brilliance as well as his property, or someone else will. Yeah. So, all the books, because books. Okay, I don't even know what this one is. This may have nothing to do with books, but it came in the mail, and so, oh, it is a book. Oh, that's right. I just saw this, yesterday. Wow, that was fast. So I just saw this in an article about, I'll try to find the article and list it because it was fascinating. But the article was basically that Susan got what she deserved in Narnia. You know, how she just lost the ability to be in Narnia and to believe in Narnia and everything. And this guy who wrote that article, he was like, you know, people like to talk about how Lewis was basically they were saying that Lewis was saying that Susan was interested in sex, so now she can't go to heaven. I had no idea that anyone had this idea in their heads, but he said that this was a big, and he named the guy that, you know, proposed this idea and how everybody went after it. I had never heard of this, but he was like, no, she went after the world. She lost focus on Aslan and focused on self. And so there's always hope that she will, you know, return to a deeper, true faith instead of just, it's easy to believe in what you see, but once you're not there, kind of thing. And so it was a really good article. But in that article, or in the post that shared that article, I don't remember which, this book was mentioned. And it's Once a Queen, and it kind of tackles that concept. I'm pretty sure it was in that article. And I believe this won a, or at least was a finalist in like the Genesis Award or the Christie Award, something like that. It says, when 14-year-old American Eva Joyce unexpectedly finds herself spending the summer at the mysterious manor house of the English grandmother she's never met, she soon discovers that her family, the manor staff, and even the house itself are hiding secrets. With odd things happening in the gardens at night, Eva embarks on a search for answers. Astonishingly, she learns that the hall staff believe portals to other worlds exist through hidden and steadily disappearing, and that Eva's grandmother was once a queen in one of those worlds, but her grandmother's heart is closed to the beauty of the pain of the past. Now it's up to Eva to discover what really happened and decide if it's possible that her favorite childhood fairy tales are true. As she starts unraveling the dangerous secrets around the grandmother who is more than she appears, Eva begins to wonder if she too is more than she understood herself to be. And I think this grandmother is supposed to be kind of like Susan. Interesting. The author, Sarah Arthur, was a founding board member of the annual C.S. Lewis Festival in northern Michigan and co-directs the Madeline L'Engle writing retreats. But anyway, I saw that and I was like, I loved that article. I thought it was so well done, and it really looked at a lot, because some people think that Lewis was really hard on Susan, and I never got that, but I understood that people did, but I didn't know why. And discovering that some people thought he was just mad because she was growing up as opposed to becoming too self-focused, which is what she always kind of was. It's not like it's a shift in her character. It's just a maturing of the output of the shift of her character, right? So anyway, I went ahead and ordered it because it was only like $8 on Amazon, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna grab that before I forget about it, because I will. And I wasn't near my journal where I could write it down. Yeah, but if it hadn't been on sale, I would have made myself walk out here and write it on my journal. But since it was on sale and I knew it wouldn't be by the time I went to buy it, yeah. So also yesterday, my husband was kind of laughing at me. So I get a box from Kriegel. It says Kriegel on it, but I didn't have to read Kriegel, you know, the little stamp that they use. I didn't have to read that because, like I said, it only had one wrap and not over the fold. So we know it's Kriegel, right? And I was like, I looked at him and I was like, I didn't order anything from Kriegel. I don't understand this. And then I opened it up and I actually squealed. And that's kind of funny because that's really, I mean, I joke like that online, you know, if someone says something exciting's happened, I'll go like, sweet, you know, in my response, but it's not what I usually actually do, but I did. I squealed. And because Hearts Away by Shannon Sue Dunlap was in there, and I was like, oh, it's here. Oh my goodness. I did not order this. The publisher sent it to me, and I am so grateful. Thank you so much, Shannon and Kriegel. This is book 2 of the, what is it called? What is the series called? I can't recall what the series is called. Love Overboard. I guess that's the series. Yeah, the series is Love Overboard, and Hearts Away is book 2. I love these covers so stinking much. It isn't even funny. I mean, super cute. When Shannon told me about this series, For one, at first I didn't realize it was a series, and I was like, I want more of that. And then I find out there's going to be more of that. I was like, yes. But I feel like Love Overboard, at least, is Mrs. Polifax on the high seas with some cronies. Basically, she decided, that all she had, instead of wanting to become a spy, she had just decided that, I like mystery, I like matchmaking, I just kind of like to hang out with some friends and spend some time, figuring stuff out and getting people together. If that's who because is her name Emily? Let me see if I can find it. I can't remember. Yes. See, her name is even Emily. Okay, so when I first started reading Emily, I was like, she's kind of is Mrs. Polifax. So there are these 4 ladies that live on the cruise ship. Instead of moving into a retirement home, they moved onto a cruise ship because it costs about the same. And at least they get to, there's medical help on the ship, and there's, the foods are prepared for them, and it's just really nice for them, and it costs the same, so why wouldn't they, right? So Shannon did a brilliant job creating 4 very distinct older women who like to play matchmaker. They have like a system. They have walkie-talkie. They've got it all. They are set. They are prepared. They're going to do this thing. And it is so, so much fun. I loved it so much. I had a blast with it. So this is book 2. And the first book was about, it was like the cruise director and maybe the events coordinator or something like that. Getting really confused now of what their jobs were, but and they're not supposed to if I recall correctly, you're not supposed to have the relationships between staff, but these guys said, too bad, we're doing it anyway. But because it was, they're trying to set these 2 people up, sure. But there was way more to it than just that. There was this whole mystery on the side, which made it even better. So in that one, we meet the friend of the main gal, whose name I have conveniently forgotten. And her friend runs like the daycare on the ship. And I think this one is about that. So it says, cheeky septuagenarian matchmakers, the shippers, are on a mission to secure a dreamy Mr. Right for Abby O'Brien, a sunny, optimistic childcare worker for Monarch Cruises. She loves her job, looking after the children of vacationing parents, but harbors one unfulfilled desire, to be a wife and mother. With his shy 5-year-old daughter in tow, divorced elitist lawyer Spencer Randolph Masterson has anything but romance in mind. His goal is to persuade his mother Daisy to relieve her ridiculous cruise ship lifestyle and return to New Orleans. But Daisy isn't interested in life on land. Besides, she and her matchmaking posse have a marriage to arrange. When a secret from Daisy's past surfaces and threatens, I can't speak it today, and threats of blackmail start flying, the shippers must protect their own while attempting to convince Spencer's scarred heart to weigh anchor and boldly set sail for a future with Abby. Okay, that was fun. So I got this and I was like, yes. Yeah. So, it's so much fun. And like I said, I mean, she puts more in it than just the romance. There's, I mean, what threats of blackmail and stuff? What, huh? So that's pretty cool. And I love the fact that this couple, he's related to one of the shippers. That's kind of cool too. And then I got an email from Jordan Rayner. Oh, it says on Kaylee Cox. So someone else also wrote this. But I got an email from Jordan Rayner, who has written this Mere Christians, binge-worthy biographies that show you how to glorify God in your work. And some of these people I've heard of and some I haven't. So I thought that was kind of cool. And I was kind of surprised by some of them, to be honest. But I like the fact that there's only 5 and they're pretty short and they're pretty interesting. So we get, an upfront page. Let me see, there's this one here. So we get to see, a lot, and you know, again, they're short. I love they call it binge-worthy biographies. That's just such a great. You might not want to say that fast, Krista. Watch out for that one. But yeah, so what does it mean to truly glorify God in your daily work? And from what I understand, Jordan Rayner, that's like his work faith thing, is like his thing, is that, you know, our work we should be using to glorify God. And I love that. And so I think that's what he's like all about, if I recall correctly. I can't find where I saw something about it. Yeah, the Faith and Work Movement. He has a podcast, devotionals, help millions of Christians in every country on earth connect the gospel to work, to their work. So, you know, so anyway, so that's like his passion. She is also very passionate about it. So anyway, it says, with vivid, fast-paced storytelling, Jordan Rayner and Kaylee Cox explore the answer to that question through the captivating lives of 5 mere Christians. Obviously, somebody that we know is going to be a part of this, right? I mean, right? So Fred Rogers, the TV host from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, demonstrates how your selfless service to others can reveal glimpses of heaven on earth. Fannie Lou Hawker, the courageous civil rights activist, models how to pursue justice without hating the unjust. I think that's a beautiful, I don't know her. Ole Kirk Christensen, the founder of Lego, I had no idea that the founder of Lego was a Christian, shows how to persevere through life's most difficult trials and find God's purpose in play. Hannah More, the audacious poet who was highly influential in abolishing slavery throughout the British Empire, exemplifies how to change the world through culture and not just politics. Yes, because yes, how about we change the world through gospel and not just culture and politics? Let's go there. But this is a step in the right direction anyway, because gospel definitely influences culture in a very specific way. Anywho, and then C.S. Lewis, the literature professor and best-selling author of the Chronicles of Narnia and Mere Christianity, invites you to embrace your unique opportunities to proclaim the gospel and make disciples. So I am like, this is really hard not to jump in on this right now, because we do have that missions book that I'm finishing, but this month is gospel, and I mean, gospel, right? I'm like, I'm so happy. This is put out by Harvest House, and so yeah. Anyway, looking forward to reading that. And then I've got 3 more. Okay. Then I have been there's a sticker. Really? A sticker. For a couple of years, I'd say 3 or 4 years, I have been looking for the 4th book of the Crosswick Chronicles in the cover design. Is that staying on or peeling off? No, it's staying on. Okay, good. And I had this very specific design, and I kept looking every time I was on eBay. I was like, oh, I better check and see if maybe one of those number 4s has come up in my design, and it never had. And I finally have decided that they didn't publish it in mine, because I can actually find box sets of the first 3. And so because of that, I gave up and I bought, this is driving me nuts, I bought the 4th one, the 2-part invention, in this instead, because at least I have the book. But now I have to decide, do I want to just give up and get the rest in this binding, and at least then they all match? I don't know. But this is just number 4. The 2-part invention, I think, is supposed to be about, yeah, I think this one is actually supposed to be, thoughts on marriage and stuff, but I could be wrong. Yeah, 2-part invention, the story of a marriage. Yes, because yes. So, just her journals about marriage. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I definitely wanted book 4, but yeah. So I went ahead and bought it when I saw those. I've never actually seen the box sets in the slipcase before, and when I saw a couple with the slipcase, I was like, you can't, you can't get this cover. That's why I can't find it, because they didn't do it. It didn't do it, right? Okay, and then lastly, I was talking to Donna Wickelman about her, oh man, I feel terrible. I can't remember what book she wrote. I think they're historical, but my brain, or are they fantasy? No, they're not fantasy. Well, they might be, but they're not the fantasy I was thinking about. I can't remember what she wrote. I'll put it in here, what she's working on now. But before she had those, she had these. And I saw it's book 1 of the Waldensian series, and I about lost it because, I think she wrote something about the silver mine, it starts with an S, it's very alliterative, the Singing Silver Mine series. I think that was hers. We'll find out if I'm right when I go get that picture, right? But she had these books, and it has the Waldensians, and I'm like, wait, what? Well, what? Because the Waldensians were such a neat group, and they were so heavily persecuted, I believe, in Italy. It was just, I read Paula the Waldensian way back in like the mid 90s or something, and loved the story. And so I was telling her about that, and she's like, people don't even know about them. And then she tells me about this place, Valdez, in North Carolina, over by Asheville, where there's like this whole, like, you can go through this prayer walk, and you've got the cave that is like a replication of what they did and all this stuff. And I'm like, what? There's like this whole Waldensian village in North Carolina, and it's right where I go every year. I'm like, I'm going there, man. That is going in the book that takes place in Greenville, Tennessee. Crosswords for the book strings. Yes, it's going in there somehow. I don't know how, but Milton will make it work, and I'll just go along for the ride. So anyway, but then she was so sweet and sent me the series. So these are romantic suspense. They take place I think it's in the Italian Alps. The Alps. So it says, this is the first one, right? Book one. Yes. Okay, so Light Out of Darkness is the first one, and it says, a prestigious art exhibition turns into a horrific spectacle when a murder sends an art curator and a professor on a hunt for a highly coveted stolen painting. Escaping a painful past in Cleveland, Ohio, Jamie Holbrook flees to Milan, Italy as an art curator, but her past follows her during an evening stroll through Varena's shoreline walk when an assailant who looks like her dead brother presses a mysterious riddle into her hand. Okay, I gotta stop right there. I don't think I want to know anymore. What? Okay, I have to say, look, that's something that has always been kind of in the back of my head. My brother was murdered when I was 12. And it was more traumatic how I was told even than anything for me at 12. I was young. He was the only one of my siblings I actually knew really at the time. And so, we had a really neat relationship. And my dad just walked into my bedroom I think it was one morning. Now that I think about it, I've always said night, but I think it was actually morning. But he just walked in. He said, "I'm going to tell you before you hear it from Grandma or Aunt Etta, Bear's dead." And he shut the door and walked away. Took me ages to find out what happened, really. When I finally got it out of Grandma, everything that had happened had gotten shifted to a grocery store instead of the fact that it was in a bar. Either way, my husband, yeah, I married my brother. Sure I did, at 12 even. Impressive. No. My brother was working as a bouncer in his mother's bar, and when some guys wouldn't leave one of the servers alone, my brother said, knock it off, and they came at him. He beat him up, and then they killed him. Yeah, that was great. But now that just sounds so bad. Yeah, that was great. You know what I mean? It's like the morbid humor, right? You get it. So, but at the time, before I found out what happened, and even now and then I'll see someone. My brother looked a lot like Dean Butler from the Little House on the Prairie series, Almanzo. He looked a lot like him at that time. And every once in a while, you know, especially before I found out what happened, I will say, I'd be walking down the street and I would see someone who looked like Bear, and it would just totally jar me. It would freak me out. And so I see that and I'm like, "Wah!" So anyway, yeah. There's that one, and then there's Undaunted Valor, which is book 2, but I'm not going to read about it because I'm assuming there's going to be some sort of spoilery-ishness. But yeah, so those are the books that have come in this month-ishness. Not very many, but that's okay. I'm good with that. I like this not very many-ness. Okay, I'm good with this. But I have this stack, and this stack is... They're books that I've either had for a long time. This one I got since, this one I got since, and that one, and those 4 I had before. Okay, let's do the ones that I have gotten since BookTube, but pretty early on. We'll start with those, right? That works. That works. So this one I got, and I don't recall, it's really funny. I don't recall if this book actually belongs to my friend Kathy or if I bought it for my friend Kathy, because she mentioned it. But it's one of those two. And we were talking about it when I was at her house. I did that whole video. If I recall, I will link it. But the Time of the Singing of Birds by Grace Livingston Hill, I don't even know what it's about, but she liked it, and so I was going to do it. Oh yeah, she said it reminded her of what I said about the Keeper of the Bees by Jean Stratton Porter. So it says, this is not reading easily. I don't know why. I think I've gotten Krista-itis. Bloopers waiting to happen. Here we go. So this is the story of Lieutenant Barney Vance, invalided home to rest, bearing trophies of brave deeds and valiant daring, and of the problems and difficulties he found in adjusting himself again to the life he had left behind him. For a gulf widens between the soldier at the front and the civilians who can only know indirectly of his experiences and the profound changes wrought in a man by combat. Again, Mrs. Hill has taken a timely and significant theme and developed around it a vital living story which will appeal to her multitudes of readers. I think I'll stop there. Why haven't I read it? This is my question. These are books that I've had for a while. This one I've had for at least 2 years. Why haven't I read it? I would like to know. So, okay. And then the month after I started YouTube, I sent my daughter money and I said, buy me a birthday book haul. And she bought me a birthday book haul, and one of the books she bought was Codename Verity by Elizabeth Wen. Have I read this yet? No. It's like being in love, discovering your best friend. It's like being in love, discovering your best friend. I don't know. Anyway, a British spy plane crashes in Nazi-occupied France. Its pilot and passenger are best friends, but just one of the girls has a chance at survival. Arrested by the Gestapo, Verity is given a choice: reveal her mission or face a grisly execution. They'll get the truth out of her, only it won't be what they expect. A visceral read of danger, resolve, and survival, Codename Verity shows just how far true friends will go to save each other. This updated edition features a brand new short story, a retrospective from the author, a Q&A, and more. So anyway, I have Codename Verity, and it has a bonus short story in there. That's cool. But Shalise said I would really like this, so I want to read it. But have I read it yet? No. Because no. Why? I buy these books because I want to read them, right? So what's going on? I don't know. Anyway, and then either just before or just after I got back from England, I bought Susan Branch, A Fine Romance, Falling in Love with the English Countryside. And I mean, it's just such a beautiful, beautiful book. It is stunning. And I think someone told me that there's a lot in the Lake District here. I don't know if that's true, but it's just such a beautiful book. I would like to own all of her books. But I did figure out the reason that I haven't read this one. I started to read it. I think I actually got through maybe the preface. Maybe. I don't recall. But I had gotten through some of this anyway. Not very much. When I found out that some of the books were connected. And I haven't figured out if this is one of them or not. So, question. Do I need to read any of her other books before I read this one? I haven't found the answer just in listening to people, and I haven't gone looking for the answer. But I have to say, these books are truly beautiful, and I would like to read them all. But can I start with this one? Does it matter? I don't know. So, but this is Susan Branch. She's the one that does the just stunningly beautiful, all of it handwritten, includes recipes, no less. It's just like, yes, because yes. I just looking at these pages, I feel like I'm back in England. And I have to say, England was a shock to me. I didn't know how much I was going to connect with England. It's really kind of funny because I definitely did connect more with Skye, and I almost didn't get out of the cottage there on Skye, but there's just something about Scotland. I don't know. But anyway, so there are those. And then here are some other ones. So Stork Bite. I read L.K. Simon's book, All In. And I really liked it, even though there were parts of it that I didn't like or I didn't agree with. I really did like it because it was so raw and so real. If you're looking for someone fighting, coming to face, someone having a very horrible life beforehand and not pretending otherwise, it is raw, it is real, it is gritty. And I think there might even be a couple words in it that I didn't appreciate. And then once she becomes a Christian, there are definitely some theological things that I disagreed with. Don't care. It was very well done. And it is definitely, it's not, I wouldn't call it Christian fiction. It is in that a Christian wrote it and there are Christian themes in it and whatever, but it is written as more evangelistic fiction. It is more general market, that it's not preachy though. That just kind of shows, not tells, why Christ is so important and what he does for us. I don't know how else to put it, but this one is more definitely general market, but she is, again, she's a Christian author and the Christian themes come through it. My mother read this book and really liked it. Everything has to be reconciled eventually. Okay, so it's Cato, not sure which, parish, 1913. On an October morning, a Klansman confronts 17-year-old David Walker at a hidden Oxbow Lake where he has gone to hunt. David accidentally kills the man and hides the crime. His determination to protect his family from reprisal drives him far from home and into manhood. Shreveport, 1927. Cargie, rhymes with Margie. Ha! Bain and May Compton are two vastly different young women, but both are defying convention to reach for their dreams. The men in Cargie's and May's lives help and hinder them in more ways than one. After years in hiding, David Walker finally resurfaces, and we discover the past is never as far from the present as it seems. Yeah. It sounds really good. I really do want to read it. I don't know why I haven't. But I've had it on my shelf for 5 or more years. It's been on my shelf since before my mom came, and we're working on almost 6 years on that one. I'm just saying. And then, okay, so this one I have read, The Rules of Murder by Juliana Deering. I want to reread this series so bad. I love this series. And there is one, is there one or two? There's at least one, possibly two books in the series that I have not read. What? So I want to reread them before I read it, right? Valley Falls Free Library. They did not let the ink dry before they closed the cover after they stamped it, and it's there. Anyway, so the Drew Farthing Mysteries by Juliana Deering. There's only 6. They're all she has written, as far as I can recall. I know that is a pseudonym, and I know that she writes in other genres and things, and I wish she would write more. Can I just say? Even Nancy Mell loved. Anyway, it says, from the tip of his black Homburg to the crease in his cheviot trousers. Cheviot? Anyway, he is the epitome of a stylish 1930s English gentleman. His only problem? The body he just discovered. I love that. I love that. Drew Farthing loves a good mystery, although he generally expects to find it in the pages of a novel, not on the grounds of his country estate. With the help of beautiful and whip-smart Madeline Parker, a guest from America, Drew proposes to use the lessons he's learned reading his mysteries to solve the crime. Before long, he realizes this is no lark, and no one at Farthing Place is who he or she appears to be. Not the butler, nor blackmailer, the chauffeur, nor embezzler. Trying hard to remain one step ahead of the killer and trying harder to impress Madeline, Drew must decide how far to take this dangerous game. And then there's a bunch of other ones. And it is so good. I love this series. I want to reread it. Why haven't I? I've been talking about it ever since I've been on BookTube, I'm sure. And I've been talking about it with my friends and my poor family who has to listen to me. And that's why we're here. Hi, how you doing? So yeah, I definitely want to get to that. Why haven't I? Why have I not done this? I don't know. And then I have 2 left. Obviously, there's a theme starting here. The next one is, I bought this in, okay, this said it was published in 2017, this edition, and I think that's probably when I bought it. Patricia Wentworth, The Gray Mask, a Miss Silver mystery. I think I may not have read this because I figured out that it might not be the first book in the series. Does anyone know? I need to look it up, but I feel like, yeah, it says yeah, see, if you look at this, they show another one. So should I get The Case is Closed and start there? I mean, they're the Miss Silver mysteries. Clearly there's more than one. And so this is the one I bought, but should I go get that other one? Start with The Case is Closed and see if I like it. I'm pretty sure that's what's holding me up. So do I just do it? What do you think? Because mystery. Or do I listen to it on audio, since I love mysteries on audio, and decide from there if I even want to start buying these books? Maybe I want to read them on audio instead. What are your thoughts? Inquiring minds want to know. And finally, last but definitely not least, Georgette Heyer wrote, she's not my, I need to reread one of her Regencies. I read one, my friend Kathy really loves them, and I read one that she liked, and it just didn't grab me. But my daughter read them all and liked them, so there's that. But there's a whole bunch. I love this title, Why Shoot a Butler? Anyway, but what I know that Kathy likes about Georgette Heyer is her use of words. I knew that I should really like her writing, and so I decided to try this. It was Footsteps in the Dark. I think I may have seen this at the same time I saw that one. It's entirely possible / probable that I bought them at the same time. I'm looking for... Says this edition was published in 2010, so it's entirely possible that I bought these at the same time. You know, saw that, went, oh, that sounds good, and then saw this and went, well, you know, that might be, you know. It says a country house mystery. So, anyway.
What begins as an adventure soon becomes a nightmare. Locals claim it is haunted and refuse to put a single toe past the front door. But to siblings Peter, Celia, and Margaret, the Priory is nothing more than a rundown estate inherited from their late uncle, and the perfect setting for a much-needed holiday. But when a murder victim is discovered in the drafty Priory halls, the once unconcerned trio begin to fear that the ghostly rumors are true, and they are not alone at all. With a killer on the loose, will they find themselves the next victims of a supernatural predator, or will they uncover a far more corporeal culprit? Yeah, duh. But yeah, it's kind of a floppy book. It's kind of nice. But again, I could do this on audio or not, as you will. So I don't know. What do you think? But anyway, so these are 7 books that I have had for a very, very long time and have not read or have not reread so that I can read. You get the gist. What do you think? Which one should I start with? Are there some here I shouldn't do? And what about like the mystery? Should I go audio on those? This is just like flying all over the place. I'm just trying to straighten them up. And it's not working. It ain't working. So, should I, I don't know. But which one? Which one do I start with? Do I need to read the, this is so hard. Can I put them up here and you can kind of see them? I think so. So do I need to read any others before this? I should probably read the others before this one, but should I buy the physical books or should I buy the audiobooks? And what about Higher? Should I read her? I don't know. But these are books that I've had that I have strong feelings about, that I really want to read, and that I never pick up. Why do we do that? I mean, some would argue, people who buy into some funky psychology things would argue that, well, you really don't want to, or you would do it. I don't buy that, because every time I see them, I get excited, and I go, and then something else. I think it's like literary ADD is really what it is, and it would fit because I'm pretty sure I've got the regular kind too. Super quick, I also got, I blame Jashi Corinne for this. So I was watching a couple of journaling videos, and yeah, kind of sucked me in. She had bought some really cool tapes, little PET tapes, and then some super cool stickers and things, but I can open this one because I already took it out of the box. They're so pretty, and so I went a little crazy and bought some stickers, because everybody in the world needs pretty plant stickers, right? Can you even see that? What if I do it like this, so that maybe, just maybe, it will show up better. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah. So I had a whole bunch. There are 2 that have plants, and I mean, each one just peels off as an individual sticker on the plants ones. But then there are sunflowers and wildflowers and books and flowers. Yeah, like I said, I kind of went a little crazy. We've already seen the plants. Then there's some pretty books and some cute mushrooms and fence with cottages. Why don't we just pretend that that's all there is in there and just call it good? I was having fun, and they were very inexpensive, and so I was like, well, I can keep some, and then I can cut some off and send them, so I can share. I like to share, because when we share, we get our share of friends. It's really hard to get off key on purpose. Have you noticed? It's really hard to do that well. So whoever did that, he needs a raise. But anyway, yeah. Niall the Kindly Viking, for those who are not literate in all things, whatchamacallit, VeggieTales. That's actually my favorite. I'm not a big VeggieTale fan, but I really do like Niall the Kindly Viking. And they play Omelette, and they're playing Battleship, and he's like, Doobie, and the other guy's like, not Doobie. It's so funny. I just love it, love it. So anyway, yeah, that is today's video. Which of these books should I start to read? Which of the new books? 1, 2, 3. Oh, how funny. I have 7 new ones and 7 old ones, and I did not plan that. But, you know, so, and which of the new ones? I mean, here's some, I'm going to, I like them stacked by height. I didn't do that on those because reasons, but this one definitely. But, you know, which of these should I read first? I really feel like I need to read 5 Mere Christians, because that sounds really amazing. And Hearts Away, but Once Upon a Queen, this one I will not be reading first because I haven't read all the other ones yet. But, you know, just because reasons. Anyway. I will see you prayerfully on Tuesday and not a day late next time with something else. I don't know what. My TBR is a total nightmare. I ended up pulling out this book because I need to read it right away. And this is really good so far, just saying. But I'm not catching up. And that was kind of the point of because they're books I want to read. I go and I reach for them, but then I don't read. I end up working. All work and no read makes Shatona a very dull person. So Shatona needs to read and stop talking about her in the third person. So I'll see you later, and prayerfully with the third person left far behind.